Modern warfare soon will just be a Call of Duty lobby with robots doing all the fighting.
平台混编而成的人机协同战术小队。
That, of course, is a fake AI video, as now warfare is predominantly being fought online, as there's a lot of very interesting things happening in our society right now that I think are worth being hypercritical about, as we have the bot accounts activated and the disinformation war started, as there's a lot of very interesting things happening right now, specifically when it comes to Iran and the Board of Peace that some European leaders are pushing against, as a lot of people now see war in the Middle East as inevitable. Some people talk about numerology. Some people are talking about solar cycles that allegedly predict this. What's going on here is Poland had some very pointed criticisms to talk about, specifically when it comes to their non-participation of the Board of Peace here, the future of Gaza, negotiations, and deals here moving forward, as now Marco Rubio is headed towards Israel, as well as the negotiators that some people are saying are a little partial. They're a little partial here, as we have a very interesting war of words, major saber rattling, and the future of Iran in question that I think truly needs to be talked about from an honest, real perspective. If you agree, subscribe. Click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us here on this brand new channel that's doing really well. Lots of breaking news, so much to talk about. We're going to get into as much of it as we can here. As I found this post very interesting, it says, arrest the low-level grade royal. Protect the Rothschilds. Start bombing Iran for Israel. Is that what's happening right now? A lot of people believe so. Other people are also reporting on Twitter, and again, I have not been able to independently verify this, that there's a lot of bot accounts that have been activated that are going to be, of course, used here. And bots accounts have been used here for a very long time by the Israeli state, by the Pentagon, by many foreign governments, the Chinese government, the Russian government. A lot of them use fake online puppet accounts, sock puppet accounts, as a way to kind of engineer consensus, engineer talking points that are going to be, of course, pushing forward a specific set of ideas that is meant to justify very egregious actions. Every time there's a war, there needs to be a big propaganda effort in order to justify these kind of larger aggressive pushes towards it that vast majority of people don't want. Vast majority of people don't want war. They don't want conflict. If you look at all of the presidents, they usually run on an anti-war platform. And when you look at American foreign policy, it's always kind of very consistent. Now, Donald Trump did change things up a little bit here, but he is very aggressive and has been during his first term and is now during his second term, especially when it comes to international geopolitical developments here. As, of course, people are making fun of the propaganda, highlighting pictures of Hugh Hefner with a bunch of women saying, this was my grandfather in Iran before the 1979 revolution. As, of course, if we remember that revolution, it was also another case of American interventionism that went wrong. You remember that one? Remember how American intervention didn't work and created the current type of religious rule in Iran right now? So what makes us think that there's going to be a difference, especially when it comes to the different overthrow of the Iranian government right now? Now, why are we doing this? There isn't even really a justification made here, as Donald Trump is meeting with the Board of Peace, as he also has announced that, quote, really bad things will happen if there's no deal with Iran. Now, we're not even getting details about what it's really going on here or why we really need to do this. Donald Trump is on Truth Social talking about how he's building the greatest ballroom ever. Who's paying for this ballroom? Miriam Andelson, Lockheed Martin, and a lot of other military-industrial complex individuals that are seen as the donor class, a donor class that keeps getting almost everything that they wanted to. As today, we saw this photo of the Board of Peace meeting, which Israel decided to join after first making arguments against it. Bibi was not there, which also is an interesting look. Here's Jared Kushner here's Susie Wiles standing next to Jared Kushner. And of course, many other kind of foreign leaders and delegations from many countries around the world. Some, of course, missing as Donald Trump decided to bang in this meeting with a golden gavel and then played the YMCA song.
Ready? Thank you. We'll take it with us. Thank you, everybody.
How very Trumpian of him. All of this is there was a security scandal with Tucker Carlson yesterday. We talked about that in yesterday's video. As soon as it happened, we have some Israeli government officials denying Tucker Carlson's account. It looks like Tucker was able to get away from Israel. Israel, again, not at this meeting, which was very telling. Susie Wiles, Kushner being there, also very telling, as a lot of European countries are staying away from this, quote, board of peace, as The Guardian is reporting that it's only autocrats, dictators, and unrepresentative governments attending this meeting. And again, the Europeans aren't happy with Trump. There's a big kind of distancing between Europe and the United States, and big questions surrounding NATO, as we are also in the midst of negotiations with Ukraine and Russia, as Donald Trump has been kind of putting pressure on Ukraine through his Truth social media posts. But a lot of people believe that a lot of the conflict is being prolonged deliberately. We'll talk about that and a lot more. Now, before we do, and before we get into Poland's response here and what a lot of people believe to be the inevitable bombing of Iran, we first wanted to tell you about WeAreChange.shop. It's our shop, it's our store, and we have great teas, a part of our store, that are discounted. They were $25, they're now $17. You can see them right here. This one, the green tea I have already drank. Then we have the white peach tea, the green tea, also organic green tea with lemon ginger in there as well. I really like these tea. We only have a few of them left in stock, 63 of the white peach, and then we have about 33 left of the green tea that's available. And of course, new research, especially with caffeine, has been shown very interesting results with dementia. Look that up. Look at the new studies that just came out last week. Very fascinating stuff. And some people are highlighting how research is showing how 3 cups of tea a day reduces your risk of coronary heart disease, allegedly, cardiac death, and total mortality, allegedly, by 24%, as a lot of people talk about how tea has a lot of antioxidants. It helps with digestion, helps with some people that are dealing with other causes. This is via the European Journal of Epidemiology. Look it up. Again, I'm not here to tell you, hey, this tea's going to do this. No. You got to take care of yourself, right? Proper sleep, proper exercise, proper diet, walk if you can't exercise, take care of yourself, get those steps in, start taking care of yourself, because there's a lot of things out there, including glyphosate, that Donald Trump now is federally protecting and mass producing, that are correlated with some really bad health effects. Now listen, I like tea, and again, most people always talk about lowers all-cause mortality, lowers cardiovascular disease. I really like drinking tea. I've been drinking tea a lot more recently, and it's been something that's been really great for me. Might be good for you. Check it out. This is loose leaf tea, so you don't get the microplastics, you don't get the poison. Really great stuff, only available on WeAreChange.shop. Support yourself, support this independent media broadcast at the same time. Now, let's get back here to what's happening here with this Board of Peace meeting here, as we do see the Israeli foreign minister sitting alongside the Pakistani prime minister and representatives of predominantly a lot of other Muslim countries. Now, this is interesting because they are going to be discussing the future of Gaza and the economic opportunities there. Some people see these kind of economic opportunities as a little bit of a predatory type of approach here. Other people are seeing this as a more diplomatic, more common sense type of approach here. And we're going to see what is going to be done with this Board of Peace, which a lot of people believe is there to rival the United Nations. Not a fan of the United Nations. They have a horrible track record and are pretty much a globalistic entity. Founded, started, pushed forward by the Rockefellers and other elites to push forward one world government and tyrannical control here. As of course, they're the ones that were introducing Ghislaine Maxwell to the world and her projects to, quote, save the oceans, as she had a fleet of submarines. No one likes to talk about that. But anyway, I digress here. Poland and Italy said that they will not join the Board of Peace here. The Polish Prime Minister objected, had some very pointed criticisms, talking about how they wanted to focus on Poland cities and the Polish people. And they, of course, objected to this particular meeting, as they specifically said that Polish prime minister won't be sitting at the table with Putin, Lukashenko, Orban, and, quote, other autocrats. Hungary is a country that is, again, seen as far right in Europe. They're moderate compared to American standards, to be quite honest with you here. But this is the kind of globalist prime minister of Poland. The president is a right-winger, more closely aligned to Orban. And Poland is ruled by a president and a prime minister, and the country is divided. Half of the country is like liberal, closer to Germany, closer to Belarus and Ukraine. The country is more conservative. And we are seeing very close, tightly run races with USAID previously getting involved, literally taking American tax dollars and using it to finance leftist, woke, liberal, globalistic propaganda inside of Poland. Thank goodness Elon Musk got rid of that, but there's still a lot of globalistic pressures to make Poland left. And when that happens, the borders are going to be, of course, wide open. Poland growing tremendously, overwhelmingly closed borders compared to Europe, except for Ukraine, where Poland has taken in more migrants than a lot of other European countries, but only from Ukraine. Now, there's also a big push saying, hey, guys, maybe we should be giving those jobs to Polish people instead of Ukrainian people, and there's a big debate happening in Poland now. As Poland also just told its citizens to leave Iran immediately, which is not a good look here. Jack Posobiec, another Polish person, says Trump says his strikes last year totally decimated Iran's nuclear capabilities. So why are we doing it again? As Jack Posobiec has come out and says that this wouldn't be a good, smart maneuver for the United States of America, and I agree with his assessment. Charlie Kirk, a friend of Jack Posobiec, someone that I did speeches with, came out and also was very heavily involved when it came to lobbying the president of the United States against bombing Iran here. As the response to Jack Posobiec here is this meme saying, "I'll do it again." As people are saying to them, why the hell are we doing this again? Why are we running this back? Because, of course, it was never about the nuclear program. We told you that when all of this was going on last year. It was predominantly about regime change. Regime change in Iran. That's the end game. That's what's designated to happen here. As, of course, it's very interesting that we have the Board of Peace meeting on the heels of one of the biggest military buildups since the Iraq War in the Middle East right now, as it looks like we're going to be running it back. As this is what Donald Trump had to say at the Board of Peace. As, of course, a lot of people are saying this is not really peaceful. Right?
Qatar, countries, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. Nobody could have had, you couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days. But this meeting today is proof with determined leadership, nothing is impossible.
You're going to find during the next 10 days. Now, is this a maximum pressure type of incident? Is this an incident where Trump is just gesturing, faking, threatening, harassing as a way to get a deal that is more favorable towards the security of Israel in the Middle East? That's the question that, of course, remains here. Now, Marco Rubio is headed to Israel soon, along with a massive air armada that is flowing to the Middle East, as the military air tracking alliance has spotted dozens F-35s, F-22s, F-16s, leaving U.S. and European bases for the region, plus 85 plus fuel tankers, 170 plus cargo planes, and 6 E-3 early warning aircraft pulled from Japan, Germany, and Hawaii. These E-3s are what you use to coordinate large-scale air operations. Rubio will brief Netanyahu on where talks stand. Iran's foreign minister says a new window has opened. Vance says Tehran still won't meet Trump's red lines, as the hardware keeps flowing either way into the specific region. Now, again, how will all of this kind of unfold here? Who in the world knows? As a lot of people are saying, why? Why are we doing this? As it's pretty clear here, we're doing this for one particular country, and it's not America. As Daniel McAdams says, President Trump's totally neutral negotiators with Iran as he points a picture of the negotiation team, specifically Jared Kushner, hugging and praying to the wall here. Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, and of course, let's not forget good old John Bolton are beating the wars of drums and saying, do it, do it, do it, do it, along with Bibi and a lot of other neoconservative, hawkish Israeli politicians. Of course, there's a lot of Israelis that are saying, no, can you not? Like, we're a small, land with highly concentrated population lands. Iran is the size of Germany and France combined. They have a lot of hills and mountains. And if we are in a ballistic missile war, it's not going to be good for us. And there's a lot of Israeli people that don't want the war, that are protesting the war, and there are political factions in Israel that do not want to have this war. It's pretty clear. And those voices do deserve to be heard as well here. Now, a lot of people believe that this war is inevitable. Some people are saying, well, it's because of the solar cycle sunspot. What? Now, again, this is a theory. As people are saying, I'm not saying you could have predicted a war with Iran solely by looking at the solar sunspot cycle, but something else did in 2020. As people are talking about these cycles, 1980, it led to the Iran hostage crisis. 1990, the Desert Storm crisis. The early 2000s, Afghanistan, Iraq. 2015, Libya, Syria. Those worked out really well. And now 2025, Iran is looking to be, of course, overthrown. Now, is there a correlation here with Earth's magnetic field, the weakening, the solar cycles? I don't know. But some people are saying it's correlated with wars, civil unrest throughout history, as well as disease, unemployment, etc. Is that one way of understanding it? I haven't delved and did my due diligence here, so I cannot speak about this from an area of expertise here. There's also other people that are saying the numerology adds up. And people are saying the Iran war will start on Friday based on numerology. As they're saying World War I started on this date, and you add these numbers, it adds up to 68. World War II started on this date, and allegedly it adds up to also 68. Russia's invasion of Ukraine also adds up to 68. And now people are saying the U.S.-Iran invasion, which allegedly will happen tomorrow, according to China Pulse, a China-related news, probably funded by the CCP, saying, yeah, it's gonna happen based on numerology. Lots of Chinese people really big into numerology, Asian astrology, into things like the horse year that just happened this past Tuesday, and they do see this as kind of larger cycles that a lot of people take very seriously in China. It's like astrology, but their own type of different understanding of it, as people do see this as one of the years, as GG33 came out saying numerology is king. Now, GG33 also talked about how the decision to bomb Iran was made on February 11th, and that this was somehow postponed. Now, will it happen Friday? We will see. I hope not. Ted Cruz hopes it will. This is what he had to say, as he's now publicly urging Trump to bomb Iran. There was a very interesting exchange between Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz that really kind of pinpointed and highlighted a lot of the kind of misunderstandings of the current situation that Ted Cruz has of it. As of course, it just seems like he just is Lindsey Graham light here, essentially echoing propaganda talking points.
I think that's exactly right. We are at an extraordinary moment in history. It is entirely possible, Sean, that in the next 6 months, we will see the regimes fall in Iran, in Venezuela, and in Cuba. And we could also see governments replace them that want to be friends with the United States of America. Now, let me be clear. I'm not being Pollyannish about this. There are 1,000 things that can go wrong. But if that happens, this would be the most consequential geopolitical shift since the fall of the Berlin Wall, since America won the Cold War without firing a shot. I spoke with President Trump.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome, just like the Iraq War. Oh, wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome, just like the Libyan War. Oh, wait. It's going to be great and awesome, just like we overthrew the government of Syria. Oh, wait. It's going to be great and awesome, just like Afghanistan. Oh, wait. We have to understand, when the Iraq War happened, I remember protesting the Iraq War before it happened, back in like early 2000s. That's how old I am. I was a teenager at the time. And there was a lot of propaganda, a lot of disinformation. New York Times saying, absolutely, they have WMDs, we got to stop them. Lied, based off anonymous sources, knowingly lied, didn't do their due diligence, didn't do their fact checking, didn't do their sourcing. They just said, yeah, government told me to say something, I just said it. They're like, yellow cake, they got yellow cake, they got chemical weapons. And then it turned out the only weapons they had were the ones that we gave to them to fight the Iranians. And then we also gave weapons to Iran and fighter jets to Iran as well. Interesting how that worked out. Anyway, the Iraq War allowed Iran to have a bigger sphere of influence, become more powerful, become more influential here. But during the beginning of the Iraq War, as the war went on, in the early beginning stages, everyone was like, this is a huge success. We did it. We did an amazing job. We did incredible. This is awesome. This is great. This is what we need to do more of. Iran next. Libya next. Syria next. Finish Afghanistan. Let's go. And all of that was a disaster that created massive amounts of chaos, death, destruction, debt of them, and the destruction of the purchasing power of the U.S. American dollar, as of course we were just paying insane amounts of money for these endeavors, destroying countries, creating mass casualties, suffering, refugee crises, immigration crises, and then we rebuilt it all for them. And then the Afghanistan Taliban got stronger and more powerful than ever. Radical sectarian sects of Islamists in Iran got stronger than ever. Libya got more tumultuous and destructive, leading as the major pipeline of slaves, of immigrants to Europe. Syria, right now, what's happening to the ethnic minorities there? How did all that work out, right? And then this guy has the gall. This guy has the hubris to come out and say, we're going to do it again. It's going to be great. What? Why?
Trump the day before yesterday. And we talked in particular about Iran. And I said, this moment, the regime is teetering. The Ayatollah is in his last days. And I said, do not let this opportunity pass. We have
I wish Charlie Kirk was there, right? Because now it's just Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz in his ear, along with Mark Levin, being like, yeah, murder. What do we have to show for all those other regime change? Kyle Kalinske, who I disagree with on a lot of other kind of political commentary, came out and says, reporting is out now that the imperialist warmonger Trump regime is going to have a full war with the Iran regime. Another illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. He needs to be impeached and locked up for his crimes against, quote, humanity. That's the leftist talking point now that a lot of people are listening to. As, of course, a full-on war and a regime change in Iran would lead to massive sectarian violence, a huge vacuum of power, a lot of chaos, disorder. As, of course, if we look at Iran, right, it's a huge land. It's a huge territory. Again, the size of France and Germany combined. Lots of different ethnic minorities there. As we have Kathleen Tyson saying, specifically, partition was always Israel's plan for Iran because it ensures permanent poverty, instability, ethnic rivalry, border wars that are easy to exploit and profit off of. As again, there are Arabian, Kurdish, Azerbaijani, Turkmenistanian, different sects of Islams and religions inside. As of course, the partition of Iran and breaking them up into smaller territories is what is going to happen here. Breakaway territories that will potentially find itself in fighting. As of course, the ethnic breakdown of Iran, specifically amongst the Persians, the Kurds, the Mazanis, the Arabs, the Turkmen, and a lot of other, like the Azerzis, the Lors, the Gailaks, are very at odds with each other, especially now when the opportunity opens itself up to people creating their own lands, creating their own territories. Now, again, this is what they've been calling for a long time, and this is what they're going to do when it comes to the regime change, which a lot of people see inevitable. GG33 says it's going to happen. It might not happen now. It might happen in September. He thinks it's going to happen in September. Some numerologists are saying the bombs and the wars are going to start now, and that it's going to end in September. That's what the lore is. Whether that's true or not, who knows? As now we have Roa Congressman, coming out and saying that the Trump administration is 90% likely that it will strike Iran. As now Roa and Thomas Massie are going to Congress and saying, hey, we're going to have to vote on this. Right? Trump doesn't need a vote. Trump's not even arguing why we need to do this. Trump's not even trying. And this is when we know we're in trouble, when the administration is not even trying to lie to us or propagandize us. They're just doing it. They're like, okay, yeah, we know most people don't want this. We know you don't want this. We know you don't like this. But you know what? Yeah, we're just going to do it anyway. Congressman Roa and Massie are saying, okay, let's at least vote on it, right? And again, they might vote positively. They might vote negatively. But at least there's some people trying to stop this in some way, representatively. Now, even though Congress could pass a resolution, you can see Mike Johnson doing his best to stop that, because Mike Johnson is working on the behest of Donald Trump, and Mike Johnson was trying to stop the Epstein disclosures with Donald Trump, and they failed. Shouts out to Roa Massie, Nancy Grace, Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett, and all these other brave members of Congress that really, Lauren Boebert, that really put their necks on the line here and are doing absolutely critically important work when it comes to fighting for the American people. Even though the FBI and the DOJ are a part of a criminal cover-up of the Epstein class, at least there's members of Congress being like, okay, let's interview these people. At least that's happening, right? Still not a good look here. Now, Mark Levin is just going on a tear, saying, get rid of the Ayatollah, get rid of the Ayatollah, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him. Like, you just go to his timeline. It's just like he's splurging out. As he's responding to Cenk Uygur, who, again, I had my differences with, says, Trump ran on anti-war, and now he's going to start a disastrous war. This is not like the others. We're going in big, and Iran can hit back. Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq. This is going to be a nightmare. He sold you out for his donors. Nobody voted for another war for Israel. No matter who you vote for, you always get war. No matter who you vote for, you always get billions going to Israel. And we can't negotiate drug prices. Corporations get billions in subsidies. When we desperately need that for the average guy, the donor class is bleeding us dry. Now there's a big move making sure that the United States produces and federally protects glyphosate. Are you kidding me? And so, of course, this is one of the biggest betrayals of Maha imaginable. I'm gonna do another video about that on the main channel, because that deserves its own topic, right? That deserves its own discussion here. I was going to talk about it at the end of this video. No, that deserves it. It's just like, who took over Donald Trump? You thought Warp Speed was bad? This is bad. Mark Levin here responds to Cenk Uygur talking about this, which I think is a fair perspective. The psychopath, so-called Cenk Uygur, is a dangerous, American-hating Islamist operative. The enemy within. Like, okay, you're not making an argument here. Trump ran on anti-war and non-interventionalism, and he's prepping a big war. There's a big disconnect there, especially with the people who voted for him because of this particular issue. A lot of the libertarians, a lot of the people in the middle, lots of people like myself, right? To say, hey, you guys promised this and then didn't deliver on it, and now we're called the enemy? You're calling people enemies that are recognizing promises that are not being kept here? And we're saying you're dangerous? Again, this is the same type of Bush-era type of rhetoric that we saw after 2001, saying you don't fall in line, you don't believe in war in Iraq, you don't believe there's no WMDs, you hate America. That doesn't work. We love America. We love the people of this country. We love the land. We love the country. The government, on the other hand, needs to shape up a bit. That's what we voted for. That's what we were promised. And again, we have to understand, lots of people voted for people because they promised no war, and all of those promises seem to be broken more than ever. So Cenk Uygur responded to this saying, every Israeli accusation is a confession. Is there a bigger enemy within than Israel? First, he says, they burrowed into our government, bribing all of our politicians, doing God knows what with the tapes that they have from Epstein, and they pretend other groups are able to take over. Again, the real onus should be on this administration not doing this in our name, because this is not what we wanted. This is not what we voted for. MTG came out saying, "Dear world, Americans overwhelmingly do not support going to war. In 2024, we voted to end foreign wars and regime change. Americans want affordable health, home, and auto insurance and good health care. Americans want rich, powerful predators and other predators strung up on gallows, even if it collapses our own government. They've always said," she's going in. "Americans want a good paying job and want to be able to buy a nice home. Americans just want good trade deals and world peace. And we love to travel to many of your lovely countries. I just thought someone should tell you outside of our ruling class." Yeah. Thomas Massey, I'm against the next war already. Yeah, I was writing that all last year. And again, this is why Charlie Kirk was so important and why his loss is so devastating, because he was the one behind the scenes being like, Trump release the Epstein list, Trump fire Pam Bondi, Trump do not go to war with Iran. The base doesn't want it. The youth don't want it. This is going to hurt us significantly. Do not do it.
To be honest, this is more Israel pushing for Iran, but is that America's problem? That's I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10th time's a charm. This time we're actually right. Yeah, you're gonna have to earn our trust on this one.
Yeah, and you can't tell us we're going to do regime change. It's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. We're just going to get rid of the Ayatollah, and then what next? Partition, civil strife, major conflicts, refugee crises. John Bolton, who was a never-Trumper. Again, all these people, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, John Bolton, all prominent thorns in Donald Trump's side that he's appeasing, which is wild to see here. There's a reason when Trump brings up Lindsey Graham when he's giving speeches, people boo in the crowd. Okay? John Bolton on News Nation.
On today is the Revolutionary Guard. The Ayatollahs provide religious legitimacy and ideological cover, but it's the Guard that runs the ballistic missile and nuclear program. It's the Revolutionary Guard that controls 40% of the economy. And if we destroy the Guard, then things are very different. What we need the opposition to be doing is finding generals and other officers in the regular military, maybe even in the Revolutionary Guard, who will come over to their side of encouraging people in the rank and file of both the regular forces and the IRGC that the state that they see now isn't going to last for long, and they ought to get on the winning side. I hope we can avoid a lot of turmoil, but let's face it, this regime has been in power for over 46 years.
Why are they in power, John? How did they get in power? You want to look at that history book? You want to look at Operation Mossadegh? You want to look at the CIA overthrow of a democratically elected leadership in Iran that led to it being in the current religious state that it is now? And again, I'm no fan of Ayatollahs or dictators. I'm no fan of any type of top-down leader, right? I don't worship politicians. I don't worship political leaders. They don't deserve to be worshipped. They deserve to be held accountable, and they deserve to serve the American, they deserve to serve the populations that they are elected to serve. Serve, not to be worshipped. Again, people who worship politicians really think the strippers at the strip club really like them. They don't. They're after one thing.
It's been bloodthirsty. There will be scores settled. The real question for the United States is, will we and our allies in the region be free of nuclear threats and terror attacks? And that's worth a chance if the opposition thinks the moment is there. And I think they're very close to it.
Yeah, the moment's there. Go get them. Again, a lot of this also has a lot of it's just misunderstanding. Like, there's no even communication. There's no even selling this to the American people. John Kiriakou, former CIA official, came out and said this is the reason, according to him, why Donald Trump is going to bomb Iran.
Decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened.
Now, there's talks about the use of low-yield tactical weapons in order to go after the Iranian bunkers by the Israelis. There's talks about that. And there have been particular saber rattles by the Israelis, especially when America was pushing back. This is according to John Pollard, the Israeli spy that was convicted here in America, that even bragged about how, oh yeah, we just showed America how we could use nuclear weapons, and then they started to supply us with aid once again.
And that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So according to your source, the Israelis told the president of the United States that if he did not use the United States military power to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Israel, acting on its own, would use nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John?
Yeah.
Because they've never admitted that they've had them.
That's right.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the president of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them. They started working on them in the 50s.
Yeah, and how did they get those nuclear weapons? That's a whole other story in itself. Now, very interestingly, the UK government came out and just blocked the United States from using British bases to strike Iran. Donald Trump came out with a statement yesterday saying, hey, Britain, we need your island. Don't sell it off. We need it. Do not sell it off. We're going to need it for military operations against Iran. Today, the British government, Keir Starmer, says, yeah, you're not going to do that. As the UK just officially blocked President Trump from using these bases to strike Iran here. Chinese satellites are also showing and receiving new data about U.S. F-35s, according to the Iran Observer, which is probably a propaganda outlet, just to be careful. That right now, the vast majority of fighter jets that are flying into the Middle East are going through Jordan, and this is one of their staging areas that they're using right now. We're also getting reports that Iran is positioning military communication systems all throughout Iran to secure battlefield voices data, command coordinations, as these are systems that resist jamming and, quote, electronic warfare. Now, why is Europe so opposed to this? Well, it looks like Europe doesn't want to bomb Iran. They want to bomb Russia. Everyone has their own needs and wants here. But also, the United States Department, the State Department just announced that they're building an online portal called freedom.gov, which will let European people see what is banned by European governments. This is great. Okay, this is one of the things the government did. It's like, okay, this is good. I like this. I support this. I think that's a great endeavor. Now, I think what we're seeing right now also has a lot to do with predictive programming. Julian Assange talked about this, specifically how U.S. strikes on Iran were literally like predictively programmed in Top Gun Maverick that predicted the same type of Operation Midnight Hammer of going after this nuclear program. Again, the situation just keeps escalating as right now there's nuclear capable B-52 bombers in Qatar. Israel bombed Qatar a couple months ago. Major aircraft carriers being sent in, and people are saying, what in the world's going on here? Now, is this what's kind of happening? Trump is being forced to bomb Iran because Israel said that they will nuke them. And Trump is saying, well, I could stop them from nuking them. Is that what's going on here? What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Trump's behavior has been awful last few days. This glyphosate thing. I'm going to do another video about this on the main channel. This glyphosate thing's a big deal, right? And I've been protesting this a very long time. We'll get into it on the next channel. This is wild. This is crazy. Stay tuned for more, all here on the second channel, youtube.com/LukeRudowski76. Thank you so much for buying the teas and supporting independent media and supporting your overall health. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more. youtube.com/LukeRudowski76.